The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, it's Matson from Metalcloak and Mr. Modern Jeeper Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
I was gonna say you did the salute thing. It's like, can you and Rockstar Jeep Girl Jessy.
Hello.
So I know we are all beat, and we decided not to do an interview this week because we're all beat, and the other horse would probably walk all over us and be like, so
So what do you do?
yeah, what's your name again? How to pronounce
Right.
Frank?
Because
Okay.
what do I do? Wait,
Right.
let's turn
Can
this
we
around.
we need to do one of these ones where it's reverse. Like we're gonna, I listen to these podcasts where they end up doing episodes where they got on somebody else's podcast. So then it's easy. Like you just go and have somebody else interview you, and then you just talk and talk and talk, and then you just take and produce it. Like that's what we need to do. Like
Right.
next week, let's just have Ricky. I think Ricky was going to start his own podcast, right? I heard from the Gladiator brothers because they came by. One of the Gladiator brothers came by, and I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but he came by a couple weeks ago and was on his way through and saw the CTI, did a whole big thing. And he said him and Ricky were talking about doing a podcast. I thought, it's awesome. You should do it. You should do it. But then we need to have like them come out. Like maybe we should just have Ricky test it and come over here and interview us. Like just be the host.
You've been a guest on some other podcasts, and we actually talked to a guy at the 80K Invasion from Jeep Lifestyle or
Jeep Life.
Jeep Life
podcast.
Yeah, nice guy, and we listened to we listened to a couple of their shows, and I think it's interesting. Everybody approaches these so differently,
Right.
and I think it's very unique. And apparently, even for folks to listen to us, people really have a lot of time on their hands.
There's this thing called commuting that people do. I don't know what it is. 'Cause
What is that?
My commute's like 6 minutes when there's no traffic, right? Although I'm changing that. Apparently, the variable for looking at the new house, that property that we're looking for, is anywhere between 20 minutes to 45 minutes away for me.
Oh, that'd be a lot different.
That would be a lot different. I could catch up on a lot more podcasts. Maybe even listen to ours.
There is that. This last commute we had was right at 5,300 miles. It was.
So what do you guys do that entire time?
Like, what day was that?
I know you guys are let's just talk about how two people sit in a cab who love each other together for all that time, because there's got to be are you on your computer, Jesse, and then doing stuff, and then you got your own little headphones on?
Here's the problem.
You guys, how in an 8-hour drive, how many hours are spent talking to each other? How many hours are spent just ignoring each other and listening to your own things in your own headphones?
Okay. Let me break it down for you. So when I was little, I got car sick a lot. I love to read. I haven't read in a lot because I usually am writing or doing some other functions other than reading. Or reading about Jeeps maybe. But anyway, I get car sick when I read, when I'm on the computer. Even when I'm on my phone, I can't even be on my phone very much because it makes me very nauseous, and then I start getting headaches. So I don't get a lot of that done.
It is funny. And we, to be very honest, we don't probably talk a lot, because when we're at events, we're talking to so many people, and literally we get in the truck, and it's always been my downtime, right? It takes another level of even my own personality to do an event and be focused and on. And then when you stop, literally I go into this little shutdown mode where I just want to be quiet. And we really stuff will come up, and we'll talk about okay, what's next, and what's on the agenda, what's going on, the conversations that we had with folks. But really it's, we turn on some music and
I sing.
She sings.
I sing. I look out the window. We kind of I don't
we
know.
kind of just veg out for
Wow.
a while. Yeah, it's
Or we make jokes to make each other laugh because we
Or
do
let's
a lot of talking, and I don't do a lot of talking to begin with. I'm usually the one that listens.
she's pretty quiet.
And I am. I've always been kind of quiet unless I have something important to say that I think is important. And sometimes there are things that come out of my mouth that really aren't important.
right.
But
I mean, the last trip was, so hey, keep looking out that window and see if we still have all the wheels and tires that we should have.
yeah, there was that this trip. There was a lot of that. A lot. Is it there yet? Yeah, it's there. Oh, I felt something.
We still got wheels and tires.
Oh yeah, we're good.
Well, and let's be fair. Let's be fair. How much time is spent Corey just answering calls from a bunch of random people that want to talk to him?
Or I'm
right?
filter. I'm the filter.
Or like JT wants to talk to you again. You just talked to him yesterday. Like, to talk to you again today. What are you going to talk to tomorrow?
Or my kids calling on FaceTime for no reason at all.
Yeah, it's hard to keep in touch with, and again, I'm horrible at keeping in touch with my own family.
Mm-hmm.
It's man, the energy level is just a different thing. And going to the events, I'm looking at 64,000 images in my catalog, knowing that it has gotten the best of me again, and I'm overwhelmed. We do I think a really good job of the lifestyle, the Jeep lifestyle. We work hard and we play a little, and then there's all that stuff in between that I think we miss. And even going to places like this last trip was awesome. We got to take some time and go to Niagara Falls and go to this 1,000-acre ranch. It all happens so fast that we get very little time to actually digest it. So for me, I come back and I start to go through the images and I go, oh yeah, like we're on to the next event. We don't ever get to go, man,
process anything.
Niagara was great.
Yeah.
Like what even happened? We were there for like 36 hours taking pictures and then we're gone.
And content and I sit and make notes on my phone, or I try and get the laptop out occasionally, but again, I get car sick, so it sucks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will try not to make this the downer episode.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
Between what I'm saying and what they're saying, it's like, why do I even want to be in that industry?
Well,
you know what? It's it is like I said, it's amazing the places we get to go and the people we get to see.
Right.
It's just that
looking out the window and experiencing things.
Yeah,
so,
we also
shut it off for a minute.
We also have that high level of knowing that we also we always want to earn what our living. We know that it's somebody else could step in and do what we do and want to do it in a heartbeat. So to make sure that we're providing value to Metalcloak, for ModernJeeper, for all of the people that have supported us over the years, it's very difficult to go and ever shut off. And we both do a very poor job of having a fence. My last life, my prior relationships, I was told many times, you need to set up boundaries. 8 to 5 is when you work 40 hours a week.
But I'm the same, so we're right. And that helps that we're both. We may take a couple minutes and go, hey, what's that weed growing? Are we going to pick it or walking around the house going, okay, well, now the dilemma today is packing. So I should never unpack ever.
Hey, Matson, how's that 40 hours a week working out?
Right. Well, it's funny because one of our young guys around here came by and says, uh-oh, he goes, I think I've got the curse. And what's that? He goes, well, 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up in an idea and I couldn't let it go. Like, this is one of my partner's kids. It's like, this is it. It's the sign of true. And the reality is we're all entrepreneurs here. You are self-employed. And when you're self-employed, there are no hours. It must be really nice for some people. I would consider it to be really boring myself, but some people, they have that job. They go in and they work their 8 hours. State workers in California, man, You go in, you clock in for 8 hours, you work 4, and then you actually, then you get your salary, whatever, and it's fine. But that's what some people do. The guys around here, we have our system set up. These guys, they come in, they're clocking in and they have their time, but after hours, they're checking Facebook, they're checking email,
Yeah,
they're
they
checking
do.
things.
I mean, Will's always answering me and my stupid
right.
questions.
They're
So
spending time on the forums. I mean, they're still actively involved, right? And it's just the way some people prefer to live, and I can't
Absolutely.
imagine not doing stuff. And it's always amazing. Like, even I'm going to be heading out. Well, we're going up there and doing Tillamook next week. Part of that is also a vacation for my family and I to be up at our house in Lincoln City. So we'll be there for a couple of weeks. I will spend no less than 4 to 5 hours a day doing work, usually late in the evening, right? But that's probably what the aggregate amount of time is. Why? Because I want to follow up on stuff, or I have some other things to do, or I have some project I want to finish while I'm gone. And I love it. And I love it. Now, that's the thing, though. You got to love it. We sit here talking about the problems we face, but these are the problems that we enjoy solving too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
They really aren't problems. They're just part of life. You talk
We
about
hear so often from entrepreneurs that it's funny on social media, people make fun of the people who work 40 hours a week, because I think for definitely our generation and maybe the prior generation, these business owners, guys like Ricky and guys that have their own businesses and their own, all of the majority of our guests that we've had on the podcast are all very driven individuals. And you don't get to be successful by sitting back going, yeah, I don't know. I wonder when the next event shows up and
Right.
who's going to go. And, I mean, it's no different than, and we have a lot of friends in the industry, and I understand their goal at some of these events is to sell parts. That is their main objective. And when a slow event happens, they have some more downtime, and everybody kind of gets frustrated, and there's more tension, and it's kind of awkward. For us, when we're running the CTI trailer, it's busy. Even when it's slow, it's busy for us. So there's always something to do. And I think for the majority of entrepreneurs that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, they understand that they're not going to get to work 40 hours a week anymore, not to be successful.
My mom was here for 2 weeks. She went with us to Moab. She was a huge help to us. And she was at home she still does some, I don't want to say it's not medical coding. It's, she's a cancer nurse. So she checks up on patients and stuff still, even though she's retired. So she was here hanging out while we were fixing the trailer, taking everything out of the trucks, reloading, cleaning everything, making sure we're ready to go. And everybody always sees all the fun stuff we do, because really that's the biggest thing that we post are the fun things.
Right.
Of course, you want to share
You
that.
bet.
But they don't see the whole other side of it. And my mom even messaged me the other day. She's like, I can't believe half the stuff you do. You guys are crazy, amazing. I don't know how you do it. My hat's off to you, is what she said.
We love it.
We do.
I'm like, well, it doesn't feel like it's that much of a job, really.
Yeah, exactly. Because you enjoy doing it. When you're out there, you're doing something, and really you put a lot of effort into a single moment, right? With getting through a few days in an event. Then you travel and you're here with your friends, you get to see people, you enjoy yourself. I mean, it's part of a great lifestyle too, right? I mean, Corey,
Absolutely.
you did the 40-hour-a-week thing, right? You were doing that for a long time, and you were successful at it. But to be able to step away from that, and I've done it, but even when I did it, I didn't do it, because even when I did do 40 hours a week for somebody else, because maybe business was tight or whatever, and the end result was I always did something else. I always had a business. I mean, I've had my own business going on the side since I think like 1993.
I was
right?
going to say, it's definitely as long as I've known you. And even when even to be a corporate guy, and I get it, to be successful again. So We can all think that 8 to 5 is when it all takes place, but we all know that there's things like business after hours, there's
Right.
functions, there's weekend events, there's promotions and things like that. We're very blessed, and the industry is amazing, as we've talked about in the past. It's just kind of funny, we got home, we pushed coming back because we knew we had a lot to get done before our Tillamook adventure, and we pushed coming back, and I'm like, man, I'm so done driving. We're home one day, and then what did we do yesterday? We went and pre-ran a bunch of the Colorado stuff that we need to get done because we're looking at the calendar going, uh-oh,
How many hours were we out?
We were on trail yesterday for 14 hours.
Yeah.
See,
Again,
that's
it's like
the craziness of making that choice, though.
right.
You're making that choice. Like, there's a lot of stuff you could have done
Oh, you're
instead.
fun wheeling. Well,
Yeah. Oh,
we're
but
making
you guys
notes,
were out wheeling.
we're clocking,
Yeah.
we're checking mileage,
Right.
we're preparing. It's not just,
Right.
look at all this cool stuff. No.
Yeah, and
We're still
you know,
working.
while everything else there are things that get neglected in life when you're doing all that, but you're doing it right. But to bring it all back around, it is a joy and a pleasure to be able to do what we're doing, and there's the only complainant is usually are the people that are around us that aren't doing what we're doing, and
That's right.
and my wife understands it. She appreciates it. She appreciates what we're doing. She appreciates how hard, but she was always, especially when I used to do a lot of events, it was like, well, I thought this year you had somebody else. Like, you wouldn't have to do as many events this year. You have somebody else do events, right? Like,
but you're not really.
Yeah, right. It's like, but no, there's a responsibility. I mean, it doesn't matter how big
Right.
Metalcloak gets. At a certain point, it is still my responsibility to, say hi to as many customers as possible and be out there,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
So
It was kind of funny today. So I got up and we're like, you know what? I've got some things I got to plan. We're going to head out. We're actually going to be gone, head out to the Metalcloak's World headquarters tomorrow, head that direction. We've got a little bit of time before the Tillamook adventure starts, which is going to take place next week. We've had a lot of people asking lots of questions about the event, and I'm bummed that it is sold out, but it was so funny. So this morning I walk out, I've got a big plan. I'm going to go to town. I got to go to Montrose and get the Jeep washed because it was covered in mud from yesterday's pre-running. And I meet a truck and trailer at my gate, and I'm like, can I help you guys? He's like, yeah, we're the landscapers.
wow,
What?
really?
What are you going to do?
Because Jim already did a lot of it when we were gone.
Yeah, so Jim and Deb, our friends from Trail Nut, while we were gone the last time, came out to the house and checked on it. And actually, Jim, I think he was wanting to. I think he was just wanting to get outside a little bit and get out of the RV and the van and whatnot. So he mowed the lawn, and they monitored the sprinkler system a little bit and kind of helped around the house some. But so this guy shows up and he's going to mow the lawn, and I'm like, wow. It's amazing when things. I'm always surprised when somebody like.
Finally,
I made a
shows
bunch
up.
of phone calls like a month ago or better, and heard back from 1 or 2 people. So
Right. This guy just shows up.
yeah, hey, we're here to mow, and I'm like, cool. There's really nothing to do, but please come in. And like they did, they mowed and they used weed eaters, and I'm just like, oh, that's something I don't have to worry about now.
Right.
But it's funny to find people that will actually do, spend their non-40-hour work week in getting their projects done. And a shout out to Jim and Deb. Those, again, amazing folks. They're actually out there. I think they're with Deb's folks right now, enjoying some cooler weather. It got really hot in Colorado while they were here. So, I think they're out enjoying some off-road time as well. But for them to come out and spend a couple of days here was amazing, and we thank you very much.
That's awesome. Well, I always like to play their videos in the background in there.
Right.
More their Trail Nut. You can find them on YouTube at Trail Nut. And it's, great stuff. All the ModernJeeper adventures that they've been on, which have been like quite a few. Quite a
All
few.
of them almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
I think they missed Moab this year, but I think that may be the only one.
Well, Tillamook, they aren't coming.
Well, they're not going to be at Tillamook this year, but they have been in the years past.
Right.
So,
Yeah. They were there the year past. We only did it once.
Right.
This will be only our second Tillamook. It seems like it's like third or fourth, but it's only our second one.
Because last year never happened.
Yeah.
Even though we were planning hard.
Wow,
We planned really hard and it just didn't work.
Huh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just
so it felt like we did it because
we did
worked
it.
so
We
hard
did
to
all
get
the
it
work.
done.
We just didn't get the joy. All the effort, none of the joy.
Right.
But yeah, so this will be interesting. I'm excited. Like, it's been a while.
Me too.
We've got, you're bringing your Gladiator out. I'm bringing out my Gladiator, so
Cool.
we're gonna have fun.
Bring the kids.
Huh? Yeah,
Bring the kids.
I wanted to bring the kids to the trip, but when we have a no child policy, I can't break that policy by having.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Well,
we did.
we'll have to
However,
see them
pets
at
are
some-
allowed. Pets are allowed.
They've gotten so big.
If I let my kids, if I put a leash on them, are they considered pets?
I'm sure your wife would not like that.
Oh, no.
Maybe.
Trust me.
I don't know.
She's the one who wanted to buy like the little leash backpacks for the kids. So if we go to the fair, that she's walking around with the kids on a leash. I was the one that said no.
Instead of the retractable leash where it just goes out, can't you get one with like a reel?
Yes.
Like,
yeah. I just want an
You'll
electric.
be thankful to have them.
I want the
Trust me, I've lost a
electromagnet
kid
that I
for
just hit
Ralph.
the button, and no matter where they're at, they come back to me. They're like pulled back in, just right to the.
Losing a
It's
kid
like
in
a
the crowd
pole. It's a
is-
walking pole, and you stop and hit the
I like
button,
it.
Yeah. You
and the
need it,
kids just are drawn back into you.
right.
Sounds like a
They're
Tesla
lucky.
product.
Yes. Elon, if you're listening, I know you're a listener. Go do it.
So what are you doing out there at Metalcloak and all your cool toys that you get to see and play with every day?
Just trying to make it. Really, it's all about customers right now, man. It's all about customers.
I can only imagine as many of conversations as we've had with not only Metalcloak customers, but people that are into their projects and upgrading and changing and evolving and wanting more. It seems from here to New York, from you to New York, it's off the hook. It still is. And we started the year that way, where these shops were literally 6 weeks, 8 weeks out. That hasn't changed at all in just overall projects, because whether they can get parts or not, they just don't have the help to get the job done.
Well, and that's the thing, is they don't have the help. It's very hard, especially in this area, to hire mechanics. And we've been trying to get mechanics for Cloakworks, and even somebody just for R&D, right? A good qualified mechanic who's like for the R&D guy, I was just entirely focused on doing the projects for the R&D department. So testing things, doing installs, all that kind of stuff. It's hard to find anybody, because out in this area, good mechanics, they're all getting drawn to the Bay Area for high, because they need it. I mean, you go around here to some of the shops, like I have to have some work done in the RV. And the local shop here is like, we're only taking like current customers. We're not taking it. They're slammed. They can't get any mechanics to do all the work. So the guys they do have are slammed. Right.
Wow.
And so but it's true across the board. Those that aren't good aren't the ones looking for a job. They're the ones sitting at home and in California getting 45, 50,000 a year for not doing anything.
Right.
But that goes on a whole nother thing. Yeah, we got a bit of a banana republic happening here in California. It was recently. So Gavin Newsom, our dear governor, I'm going to get political on you for a second.
All right.
So Gavin Newsom, our dear governor, who is being currently recalled. There's all kinds of infighting going on. One, it was the hope that go ahead and extend the recall out, because the longer it goes, the less likely he'd get recalled. Then they reversed course and decided, no. They want it to be quicker, because we just opened up in June 15th. And so the closer it is, might be more exciting for everybody, because there's no less chance of problems. Then his people filed the paperwork wrong, so that technically he will not be listed as a Democrat. So now his people are now suing his own attorney general's office in order to try to reverse that, which would be unprecedented, because you file your paperwork. So to reverse that. And then they did a whole nother little thing last night, violating the rules. Passed a law, literally signed at midnight by the governor, by his legislator, pushed it through to allow for this election date to be changed and not follow the actual constitution of the state of California. So, it's fun. It's funny. You sit here around, you just kind of go, but what do you do every single day? We come here, we focus on our people, we focus on our employees, we focus on making sure that the people who have chosen to come to work every day are being rewarded, right? And are given a great opportunity to work, to earn a living, to feel proud about their day, and to help get products out to our customers. So we currently don't have a problem with labor. We have, other than mechanics, we have a great team here. Everybody's excited to come to work. Everybody enjoys working here. I walk around every single day, the entire plant, just to talk to people and just to touch base and see how people are doing. And it's not only a joy in having people be able to get product out the door and out to our customers, this growing list of customers that are ordering product, and we're able to get stuff out to them in 2 to 3 weeks at the most, right? Most stuff's going out, some of the places in order, we tell them 2 to 3 weeks, it ships in a couple of days. They're like, whoa, wait a second, what happened? Except for the guy who says, well, you shipped it to me too.
Soon.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Have a weird sound?
I've got
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. That's it.
Oh.
I'll have to mention that to somehow my
Training
volume
so
went
that-
down. I was swiping the dust off my computer,
Oh.
but no, and I guess I hit something that turned the volume down. I use super sensitive little things. Anyway, so just to be able to do and build up and have people here, they're working, helping our customers, the customers that are now being able to get their stuff in 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm still flabbergasted how good we are doing with supply, with our inventory levels, with our vendor agreements and everything happening in our complete supply chain compared to our competitors.
Many others. Yeah.
Yeah. And every time I hear that story, I'm like, are you kidding me? They're still that far out, and it's been months. They were that far out 3-4 months ago.
Right.
But being ahead of the game before the game even started is probably the biggest key.
That says a lot. And
everybody was scared. They just.
And again, when we've met some amazing people coming across these 2 last events, and it made me, when you were talking about people and their projects and people getting stuff on time, I'll say it again, we wouldn't be able to do what we do if it wasn't for the guys back home, back in Sacramento, producing the parts and shipping them out, because it's really pretty cool right now, because a lot of people are getting out, they're enjoying the trails, they're enjoying these events, and they're getting to tweak on their Jeeps, they're getting to change their suspensions. We've seen a lot of new stuff. We had 392 on the trailer at Bantam. We had the 4xe on the trailer at JDK.
Wow.
We're seeing these Jeeps now out in the marketplace, running around, and of course Jeep keeps changing it up. And
That's
you
true.
and I talked about this. Now we've got the Xtreme Recon version.
Extreme Recon.
Extreme. Creepy crawler.
I'll try that back. The Extreme Recon.
Yeah, because the Recon was really cool, but now it's the Xtreme Recon.
The creepy Recon.
No creepy.
Creepy. Don't be creepy. The Extreme. Yeah, we got the Extreme Recon. I mean, so competition is an amazing thing.
Yes.
Right? It is an amazing thing. And what we're experiencing right now is Jeep going, oh, shit. Like, how many of the 125,000 orders for Broncos and the 190,000 reservations for Broncos could have been Wrangler customers, and they're not, right?
Right.
How many of those are current Wrangler customers who are just going to drop it and go Bronco, right? Mm-hmm. And so for Jeep to come and say, wait, look, we got a 392.
We got you.
We got a good engine. And hey, you can get it with 35s now, brah.
Right?
Check it out. 35s.
And
factory.
better gears.
35s
And a
and
lift.
456s are gonna be part of the standard Xtreme with 488s as the option.
Right.
I mean, that's a pretty deep gear set for Jeep to come out with, and
Well, they say
Yeah.
they're shooting for 100-to-1 crawl ratio if you have the 6-speed or 7-speed manual.
Yes. It's going to be the let's see, the crawl ratios are going to be with the automatic. You know what I didn't realize was that the 392 doesn't come with the 4-to-1 transfer case.
I
It's
didn't
only a
realize that either.
272. Which I was kind of surprised.
But if it's all-wheel drive,
Yeah.
that's the 4xe, isn't it? Yeah.
No, that's the 392.
Yeah, the 392 is all-wheel drive as well.
Yeah, with the 6-speed manual, you're at 100-to-1. It's 92-to-1 with the automatic, or 63-to-1 on the 392 because it only has the 272-to-1 low range. Yeah,
that's right. It's the Bronco that has a 7-speed stick, and it's 6-speed, but it has a granny gear.
Right. Yeah, kind of like similar to the old school Bronco that had the T18 transmission, had that super low first gear. That was a pretty nice transmission back in the day. That was late 60s.
You're aging yourself. Late 60s.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that anymore.
No, yeah. I read it in a book. I saw it in a cartoon someplace.
I saw it in a cartoon, yeah.
You know,
it is interesting because Jeep has done a really good job of posting up the approach angles, the breakover angles, the departure angles, all of that stuff, trying to go, hey, but by the way, we have better angles. And now some lower gears, some bigger tires. That's also that Xtreme Recon is 1.5 inch factory lift, which funny. Mopar's got a 2-inch lift. That's been their thing. Now we're going to have 1.5 inches.
Right. How do you determine, and not only 1.5 inch lift, first off, how do you determine you're going to do 1.5 inches? It's kind of like, did they grab a set of coils, throw it on there and go, how much lift is that? Oh, it's 1.5 inches. Got it.
Right.
Perfect. That's how to work. How do you do that?
Or was it, let's put some 37s on it and see if they get the fenders? Oh,
right.
No, 1.5 inches will clear it.
Nice. Well, and the fenders, if you've seen the fenders, it actually has like an additional flare on it.
Really?
Like it has a little bit of an extension, probably to cover that, again, to be more and more legal to be able to cover the tires, but it has a little extension on it in the picture I saw. Looks like there's like a 1-inch extension that goes off of the plastic. So it goes plastic to plastic.
Oh, the front of it?
Yeah, just going down.
Yes, I'm just finding the pictures. Yep.
Yeah.
And there's like a little lip on the outside of the fender.
Outside of the fender. So a little fender extension. So all to be able to try to, of course, the difference, always the difference between a Jeep and say the Broncos. A Bronco's still going to have its wheels on the inside. It's the wheels, unless you start putting bigger axles, which some of the guys have. You start seeing what the Fun Haver did, right? And they're shoving them out. They're getting the wheels exposed a little bit more. But that difference, just when you're out there rock crawling, the difference of being able to have your wheels and tires in your body and outside your body make a difference.
Absolutely. I mean, we're like we've said in the last 6 months, we're seeing wider and wider vehicles, different offsets. Guys, it's kind of interesting to me too. Wheel spacers, which 5-7 years ago, people were like, yeah, not a very good idea. More stress on ball joints and all those components, and there's a maintenance issue with wheel spacers. Man, we see a lot of wheel spacers these days, and it's guys trying to create that stance. It's not necessarily, I don't feel like it's been function, but it's definitely been for the look of that wider stance.
Well, it does look kind of badass. I mean,
if you're crawling the mall,
it's like big tires, it's like that puppy dog look, the big paw look, right? Big tires, they'll rig, but we all know, we've all done this, we've all experienced this. But I had that 3.5-inch lift on my JT running the stock wheels for a long time, stock wheels and tires. No big deal, just running those. And mine's a Recon, so it's got those 33-inch, the Falcons. And it was like, that's cool. That was great. And it worked fine. And then I went and put the 38s on, and you forget that's 5 inches. That's 2.5 inches more lift.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a lot taller.
How different it was just to get in. All of a sudden, my kids are like, "Well, wait a second." But thankfully, we also put everything else on at the same time. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, kids are able to get in. But the wife, my mom, trying to get in. You guys got to remember, sometimes you're building rigs, and I didn't. I was like, "Hey, I'll go pick up my mom in my truck because I like my truck." And my mom's like, "How the hell am I supposed to get into that, Sonny? What are you trying to do to me?"
Her and I have this conversation a lot, and it has to do with, what do you want to do with your rig? And, all those guests we've had from Larry McCrae, amazing Jeep builder, all these guys that have had a lot of experience in the industry building many different kinds and styles of Jeeps. What's that first question? And everybody forgets it. Mm-hmm. What do you want to do with it? Well, it's becoming more varied because now I want to do all of it with my Jeep.
I don't care if I'm rock
crawling or all of it.
I want to go rock crawling, and I want to be an overlander, and I want to go to the mall, and I want to take my family to dinner. So all of the sudden, that Jeep doesn't really exist. Trying to find the overlanding thing is amazing to me. That a couple of years ago, you had a tent and a sleeping bag, and you went camping. Well, now
it's an accessory.
That's a whole can of worms.
It's a necklace you wear on your Jeep.
And what's cool is these manufacturers, including ARS, has started to build some systems that enable you to be more flexible with what you want to do. So many of these overland roof racks on the back of the Gladiators have, well, this is where you're going to put your accessory. It's going to go right here because that's where we have the holes for. Rather than there being channels and ability to kind of modify those locations. I'm stuck with this rack that's extremely low, which is great until you start looking at a lot of different tents. Now, how big of a tent do you want? Well, that matters as to the length of the rack that you have, the height of the rack, because many of these tents overextend onto the roof. Well, if you're in the back of a Gladiator, you have that very short bed, which means you can only have a very small tent. But you go to a higher rack, you put a tent on there. Well, guess what? Now you're not parking in a garage. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's that whole.
And you're not using Quick Quack to get your car washed.
Right.
Which is the only argument I have against the rack right now is like I like going to Quick Quack every Monday to make sure I have a nice clean rig.
Yep.
Otherwise, as it is, I pop in the back and I have to pop off the Daystar cams and that I have mounted back there, and then throw them back in, throw them in the back seat, and then run through Quick Quack and throw them back on. But yeah, it is interesting because the community, the overlanding community, it has gotten big. I would have never thought that you'd look at a Jeep on 40s, right? On the Dana axles, front and rear, and 40s and stuff, is set up for overlanding.
Right.
And
that's like a thing now. Like,
yeah,
a Gladiator on 40s with a very low lift, put a tent on the thing, and of course you have to have a ladder to get to the ladder that goes to your tent. But I mean, it's all an accessory, right?
This is very true.
Right, because then you're going to have that really cool $500 ladder that you attach to the side of your rack, right? Because you have the max tracks on one side.
You have ladder, to have the tracks.
Yeah, right. Now you do have to have some things like shovels, like that's a requirement in Tillamook for us to carry our shovels.
Right.
But you have to have all these little setups, right? And got to have the mass tracks, you got to have the roto packs or the Daystar cams, whichever you're going to do. You've got, even though, you know what, you're going to be fine, you're not going to run out of fuel. Well, you still got to have those because it's an accessory.
Tech tip of the week. Side note: when you put those rotopacks in the back and you carry them around for a period of time, especially like if you're out in Death Valley and that kind of thing, we got home and I just left my rotopacks in there. Took one out, but yesterday turns out pre-running, Jesse's rig was fairly low on fuel, and I'm like, well, I've got the 3-gallon Rotopacks back there. It's empty.
Oh,
Yeah.
it evaporates.
Well, my gas is a gas
or-
guzzler.
I think that I must have used that somewhere. I don't know.
I was thinking
we
you
were
were going
like,
to tell
"Oh,
me
we'll
it,
be
like it
fine."
evaporated out, like the plastic is actually under long-term care. It's a semi-permeable membrane.
That or I got gas jacked. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
you got gas jacked. You were gas jacked.
I
Yeah.
think you need those more than you need the Max Tracks.
Yeah.
I'm
What?
not against it because I'm just love the accessories and making it look all pretty, but yeah, he won't let me get any for him. He is like dead set. I will burn them.
I saw I saw a set, and I've seen the ad pop up a
Oh,
few
yellow.
times, but it's like a little chain system that just
Oh.
just rolls out and it's real super simple and
fold
just
up.
goes out in front of your tire.
Yep.
Like,
But then how
folds
would
up.
people see them?
He still
Right. See, that's the
Because
whole
you're not
thing.
an overlander unless you have those big tracks on the side.
Right.
What's really funny is every Jeep I've seen with them on there, they're never used. They're
I've
like
never seen
brand
any.
new.
Well, it's not for you. It's so you're there to help somebody
exactly. See?
else, right? It's always to be the rescuer, not the rescued, right? Why do we carry? We don't carry, we don't
Well,
carry.
see, that was my point.
We don't carry
Somebody's
recovery
yelling.
gear because we need to be rescued. We carry recovery
Right, it's
gear
for
because we're
somebody
there
else.
to make sure it's somebody else. We don't have an onboard welder to fix our own stuff. It's just to be the guy who can save somebody else, right?
Right.
We don't carry like water because we need to drink it ourselves. It's because somebody else should, right?
Somebody else might be dying out in the desert.
Right? Not
And I
us.
just happen to drive up upon them and go, hey, I've got water for you.
Yeah, because you want to be the hero, right?
And again, that whole overlanding thing, it turns out if your rack is only this tall
Mm,
because you wanted the short version,
mm.
well, it doesn't matter what tracks you got because they ain't going to work. It's got to be a taller
But
rack.
he's getting a new one.
So all of these things, they all come into play. They all
That's
have
right.
to work together.
That's right.
They'll get on there somehow, some way.
Well, we do have. I think we're going to hook you up and get you all set up when you come out here with the new ARS rack, right?
That'll be good
and-
for people to see for sure.
Absolutely. And then I'm debating if I'm going to put one on mine or not, or just going to because I'm going to have the RV. I don't really need it, so
You
it's
could
just-
tie the kids
But that's
to
not
the
the point.
cross
Yes.
members.
Can I
That's
put
not the point. You need it on
Ooh,
there.
an ARS cage,
Yes.
a kid
See?
cage,
Kid cage.
kid cage. Nice. Then I just dress
With
them up like
K's, the kid cage.
the kid cage. I could just dress them up in like little like lion outfits and just put
Yes.
roaring sound effects.
I was thinking black and white like jail suits.
Oh, you might get in trouble. You're not in the great state.
It is Oregon, but it's only driving between Lincoln City and Tillamook. I'll be okay.
You'll be on the
Fine.
interwebs all day long if you do that.
Interwebs.
Just saying.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. Tillamook should be great. It's so beautiful out there and so green and lush.
For sure.
So, and for instance, Lincoln City this weekend, I have some friends that actually are up at our house, and they got there on Sunday. Last week in Salem, or last weekend in Salem, it was like 109, 115,
It's
You
been
won't be
crazy
incredible.
next
hot.
week.
crazy hot.
Yeah.
75 and 63 in Lincoln City.
Or trust me, I already been telling them I'm going to breathe today. So
She's very concerned
I'm
about
very
how cold
concerned.
it's going to
I
be.
put all my winter stuff away. Now I gotta get it back out.
Winter stuff. It's
Layer-
going to be
layer up.
63.
Yeah, 63. I would die for 63 right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Just wait.
We've got
Well, no, it's gonna
We're
be in the
raining.
90s when we get there, isn't it?
Hmm.
Isn't it supposed to cool down just a little?
Well, no, I mean that was saying Lincoln City was like it was super. I don't know what it's gonna be like. I don't know if it's gonna go up, but all this week it's like in the 60s. So
Wow.
I don't know what it's gonna be like next week or what, but be nice. And the ocean, driving our beach on the ocean, nothing. Driving our beach. What did I just say?
driving our beach on the ocean. You know,
Well,
hey beach.
Hey, okay, so many different directions we can go with that one. Life's
Yeah.
a beach.
Life's a beach.
Yeah, driving our gladiators on the beach by the ocean. Yeah. That was I don't know where my brain was going with that one. So, all right, you're bringing out a good bunch of good stuff.
Yep.
Right. And you got your gladiators. So it'll be fun. This will be fun to have the gladiators. Although I did realize both of our gladiators, pretty much, except for you have a little bit of are completely unbranded. Like
for the most part, yeah.
I have nothing on mine. You drive. There's nobody knows that that's a Metalcloak rig. How sad is that, right? I
gotta you can tell Justin I'll drive his.
What's that?
You can tell Justin I can drive his.
There you go. Well, like I said, here's an interesting little side note. So Justin just put on a set of Reed knuckles and RCVs. And thank you to our friends out there at Reed and RCV for providing those and getting them out to us, despite long waits everywhere. But he just did that. Interesting little note that he all of a sudden did that, and he no longer has any sort of vibration or any sort of little movement or the morning vibration they would usually get. And he's running 40s, right? All that's gone. It runs fantastic. So what did really change? No longer has the aluminum knuckles. Now he has the Reed knuckles.
Interesting. I mean, and you know, initially when the aluminum knuckles came out on the Gladiator, I know there were some folks going, yeah, this is going to have to change. And I do believe that the new Gladiators now do have a steel knuckle. But we've had comments from folks about the drag links and the tie rods being maybe a little flimsier than what was expected. And I think that helps a lot too. Side note, our buddy Curtis, that helps us out at a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Mountaineer Jeep Mafia, who has a brand new, his JL diesel, not Gladiator, JL diesel, with all the ARS rack on his and whatnot. He was having a funny clicking sound in his front end. He went back home, looked at it. The ball joints were not torqued to spec.
They were only 15 pounds.
15 pounds, and they were supposed to be 33 or 35 foot-pounds.
Wow.
He retorqued the ball joints, and I think those are aluminum knuckles. I don't know that for sure. I can't remember. But the clicking and all of that noise stopped completely. He's like, well, that was an easy fix. So from the factory, those ball joints were not torqued to spec.
Wow.
I've seen a lot of people replacing knuckles, even on JLs and JTs since they came out. I've never seen anybody replace so many knuckles on those Jeeps. So
yeah,
it must be a thing.
It must be a thing. I mean, when you're trying to chase something down, right? And I've had a challenge with death wobble on mine, for a while, and it is a challenge that I run into, and we try to fix and try to find it. And for the most part, we think we've got it resolved and solved. But are we really resolving and solving it, or do we just kind of, and it could be, I don't know where it's coming from. It could be that there's just something, and we've chasing down the front end components. But what do you do about it, right? Because other than going and saying, well, I'm just going to change the axle, or I'm going to do that, that might be my next step. I might throw some, reeds on there. I don't need them because I'm not building that rig. And he's got 40s on his. He decided he is building that rig, right? It is super rock crawler. He's got it all set up now. He's doing Jeepers Jamboree next month with it. It's fully set up. I don't really plan on doing that. Now, I don't plan on that. Doesn't mean I'm not going to, but I don't want to have to change the knuckles. Right. I don't want to have to change and put RCVs in. I will, but I don't want to have to do that. Does that make me like, I'm not badass enough? I don't know. I'm trying to enjoy the rig as it was built because it's a great rig. But then we're trying to track down these little problems with death wobble and going, okay, great. What are we going to do? Right. And we've been testing, and it just comes back like it's there, and then it's not there. And then I'm slightly off in my PSI and it comes back. Right. Or like I enjoy it. The first time I hadn't had it for a while, and then it came back after going and racing around Prairie City. And that was, I abused it at Prairie City. I raced it around the track quite fast and enjoyed every moment of it. Enjoyed every moment of it. And I was, I think I was at 20 PSI. Well, I didn't put it back. I drove back, no problem. Drove during the day. Everything's all warm and heated up, and drove back. Got home the next morning at 20 psi because I hadn't refilled it. Started driving about 7 a.m. Got death wobble, right? Cold tire, everything else is cold, steering dampener is cold, whatever. And then as the day progressed in the afternoon, didn't get it. So it's just these little weird things that occur that it's frustrating because you do have this thing, and there's 1,000 reasons why death wobble may happen, right? There's 1,000 reasons why. You just got to track it down. But I don't even know where I was going when I was going with this story, other than saying,
well, I definitely think that that's one of the, I don't know how many threads over the years and how many comments through Facebook land there have been regarding death wobble. And I mean, you know, everybody has an answer, and it turns out everybody has an answer that's worked for them once. But the reality of it is there's so many variables. And I mean, I think that's probably something that maybe it's time for you to pull yours into Cloakworks and have Scott take a look and just kind of give it a once over. But I mean, again, like you said, sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's fine, and it can change with just the slightest little
thing.
things.
Right,
Yeah.
right now
make it happen.
Right, yeah, right now my favorite is it's like 5-10 miles an hour. It doesn't happen at 45-50. It happens at 5 or 10 miles an hour driving through my neighborhood.
But you're always aware of it, and you're always waiting for it.
Yeah, it is true. And I actually will drive to avoid bumps sometimes when I'm going slower, just because I don't want to.
Right.
Now, that being said, we've gone through it. We've checked it, checked the ball joints, checked all these little things. But again, is it as simple as the fact that the basic design parameters of the Jeep, right? And it'll be interesting. It's interesting to note that the Jeep steering dampener that they currently sell is significantly different than the stock one that came out originally, right? That was their solution. They don't know why death wobble occurs in their rigs. They haven't a solution for it. They don't know exactly what occurs. And it could be a combination of just how the tie rod is flexing. It could be a combination of that and the aluminum, and there might be some flex happening with the aluminum or something that's occurring there. Don't know. But death wobble is based on this idea that you get this harmonic going, right? And then it just can't be stopped. So admittedly, I'm running big tires, 38-inch Patagonias with the big Black Rhino wheels and the Garrison wheels, all hip. Okay, so it's causing a problem. So maybe the system just can't have it. Now I have our tie rod, I have our steering stuff, or the jail. So we know it's not that. So what else is it, right? So anyway, Cloakworks is looking at it, but I'm getting it all taken care of so that I can be out there at Tillamook in 1 week. Is it 1 week?
Yeah,
almost.
That's crazy. Well, and I'm looking forward to Tillamook as well. It's a missed place after us having to skip it last year, and we've got huge stuff coming up. We have a Rubicon trip coming up. We have Colorado coming up. We have again, this year's schedule has been crazy, and we're trying to get caught up. We will get caught up. So for our followers and our listeners, thanks for being patient. We're still working through some issues with the website. It's hit and miss there as well. I think, some days WordPress, those guys don't show up to work, and and then, the next day everybody shows up. So we're working our way through it the best we all can. Again, it's amazing that, I guess I don't have an official Corey's rant this week, but it does.
I think the first half of the show was Corey's rant.
You're right. There are so many people out on the trails, and the trails are seeing a lot of overuse and a lot of abuse. So if you're out there and you're going to events and you see other people's trash,
pick it up,
please. There's been a lot of people.
That's not my problem.
Right. Yeah, that's not me.
Not me.
It's not my trash. I'm not going to deal with it. Which is, unfortunately, I think a lot of people's, that's just the way they are right now. The Colorado mountains are seeing an enormous amount of use, and people are trying to get out of the heat, so they're going into the mountains, and they're literally overrunning these trails. Mm-hmm. So be conscious about what's going on around you, where you're at, stay the trail, tread lightly. All of those things really do come into play. And I know our listeners are like, yeah, we already know all that stuff. Hopefully our listeners will reach out to somebody else that maybe they don't watch the podcast or they don't follow us.
Or they're
And they're
new.
like, or they're new and they need help. So help them.
Help them. Well, it's an interesting thing you said earlier, like when you're walking around the house or when you're on your property and like, yeah, I need to take care of that. I need to take care of that. Right. I see that in this micro environment. It's true about life. We can either be at cause over our environment or we're the effect of our environment. Right. And you can see it in just how you go through. Like you can walk through a room and you can see sometimes somebody walking through the room and there's a piece of paper on the floor. Right.
Mhm.
And that person just walks right through and ignores it.
Who's going to pick it up?
Or you can be the one who walks through and says, hey, there's a piece of paper there and I'm going to pick it up. And, around here, it happens all the time. I walk around the place. When I do my walkabouts, it's okay. What do I got to handle? I'm going to take care of that. Right. It's not my job to just say, oh, I'm hoping one of my employees takes care of that, or even just to direct somebody to go do it. I just take care of it. At my house, I have to do that on a regular basis. Right. I can walk in the house. The house is a disaster because the kids are all running around toys, and I can just walk to the couch and sit down and get ready for dinner. Or I can start picking things up, or I can get mad at them and to pick things up, or I can just start picking things up, just be at cause. So it's true out on the trails, guys. When you're out at the trail and you see something, just be at cause over that environment around you, right? Because if you look at it and it disturbs you at all that there's a piece of paper down there, pick it up. You don't have to say, well, gosh, I wish people wouldn't do that and then walk away, because that just made you the effect of the world around you. Pick it up.
That's right.
Pick up that
There's-
trash.
There's that split second that I think we all go through. Yesterday we were out and it was 2:00 and we realized we hadn't had anything to eat or whatever. And we took the wrapper off of a piece of cheese and it was windy. So it blew away. And there's that split moment where you go, oh, that's gone. Or do I run? Can I catch it? And it stops 10 feet from you. Well, and then it's like a no issue, right? Of course I'm going to go pick it up. If it was 12 feet, what if I still picked it up? Like, yes.
Right.
Can I? Now I get it. Sometimes that stuff just blows away. You're never going to get it. I know. Don't let it blow away in the first place.
Right. Right. Well, exactly. That's that same idea. It's you can be there and you can be the effect of it, but it's that split second. You're right. I sometimes have that challenge. If you're ever like you're driving down the road and you see somebody that maybe just had an accident. My first instinct is always to pull over and help. Always. But then the second later, the doubter comes into my head and goes, oh, you don't need to do that. They're fine. Right. It's the, oh, I want to go do something else starts popping in your head and starts talking.
It's going to affect my day and
what
I'm doing.
Right. Right. And I've made a concerted effort over the last several months because I noticed that in myself to try to change that and to be like, no, if it happens, go and help. They may not need your help, but go and offer your help. Right. And then it takes a few seconds, get it done and move on. And I find at the end of the day, because I will literally, and this is a weird thing, but I will think about that if I skip it. And I go, yeah, they'll be fine. I drive away, right? Like there was a little accident. There's a bunch of other people around. Somebody else already made the phone call on the things. They're fine. That's whatever. Let everybody else and drive away. I'll think about it, and then it occupies some of your brain power, right? So if you're going on the trail, it's like we never leave anybody behind on the trail, right? We always stop and help people on the trail.
Right.
The trail's there for everybody. To Corey's point, if you see something on the ground, you see some trash, or you see something happening that's not right, take responsibility for it. That's all.
Yeah. They say don't cry over spilt milk, but what if it was acid?
Hopefully it's not in your eyes.
Right.
Oh.
I mean, like, I'll wipe that up later. That whole mentality of, I know it's just going to sit there for a minute, but it's just milk or it's just water. It'll be fine. Well, I could just do it and not even think about it. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation and subject we can talk about called head trash, maybe in a later episode.
Ooh, head trash. I like it.
Head trash.
Head trash. Sounds like a band. Head trash. Knock your head. Head trash.
Okay, now you're on that creepy thing again.
Hi. What's your name?
Juan. This is one more.
Juan and one more. Is that a more?
Yes.
Juan the more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another fantastic episode of Modern Jeeper Show where you're going through, and if you made it this far, if you actually made it this far, boy, do I have a treat for you. Nothing. I got nothing.
Kudos.
Kudos. If you made it this far, kudos to you, and thank you so much. And we really, really appreciate you guys being a part of our Modern Jeeper community. You can find us at ModernJeepersShow.com. You can find all the episodes here, and also at ModernJeeper.com and at ModernJeeperAdventures.com, where you can see our adventures. And we promise, we know we've been a little delayed, that we will have the Rubicon registration up soon and the Colorado registration up soon. But we'll get those done. But as you can tell from this episode, been a little busy and preoccupied, but we promise we will get that going. That being said, you can also reach out and find me at Matson at Metalcloak.com and Corey at Metalcloak.com and Jessy at Metalcloak.com, where we're happy to hear from you. And in fact, I've just got to say, we had that email I forwarded you today. Yes. Fantastic, awesome. Right? Awesome. I love hearing from you guys. Love hearing from you. If you like the show or you don't like the show. If you don't like the show, you think we're a bunch of racist bastards, you can just let us know. But but if you like the show, that's good.
It's really cool. That was really cool for me to get some kudos from somebody that we had on the trailer, and they enjoyed the experience, and that's what it's about. That's why we do what we do. So if you had a horrible time and you were like, this guy's a jerk and he told me all my crap doesn't work, and send me an email and I'll forward it somewhere.
Right. Send me an email. It'll bounce, but that's fine. Sure. No, it's true. We do love hearing from you guys. And in fact, that particular email, that gentleman, that's like, he's a new Jeeper. He just picked up a Jeep. He's gonna, he was out there with his daughter and her brand new Jeep. And thanks to the wonderful care and knowledge of either something like that of our team, which means you must have been really BSing him, but
my stand-in.
Your stand-in. All right, Modern Jeepers, thank you again for joining us. And if you need anything at all, reach out to us. Otherwise, we will see you on the trails.
Cheers.
See ya.